Deadpool #2, written by Cody Ziegler. He's a funny guy, that guy. Art by Roger Antonio, colors by Guru Effects, letters by VC's Joe Sabino. I had mentioned at the beginning of our podcast the idea that we're doing this. We weren't going to do it. No. I ended up where we read the first issue. We didn't like it. We ended up talking about why we didn't like it. You know, I think it's our opinion, and everybody else had other opinions. A lot of people did like it. That's fine. But we thought, it's not for us, you know, because we have a funny bone. But the idea of it was this guy gets involved yesterday, I think it was, like really timely on that that first issue, and says that awful review, take the L. I don't even know what it meant. It was barely a sentence. And so I thought, you know what? We're reviewing the next issue because I'm not just going to run away from this. I want to see, and hopefully it's better. You know, the idea, and then I'd say, yeah, maybe, but I still have the same opinion of the first issue. That doesn't change, but hopefully, maybe this will be better. Spoiler for us, it's not. It's pretty much an unfunny issue that does nothing, and actually even states in the issue that what we set up in the first issue with the villain death grip, we're not going to get to that for a couple issues because, you know, it's fun times here in Cody Zieglerville. And you end up, again, just having what kind of is random scenes. And I know, again, I don't mind randomness in a Deadpool book. You can have fun. My problem is when you have randomness and it's not that fun. Mm-hmm. It's not, I mean, usually with Cody Ziegler and the things that I end up reading, and I've never really liked anything of it. And I don't want to feel or say, you know, things that make me feel biased. We didn't come in here just to hate on it because of this one guy. I was hoping it was good. But one of the things that I get with Cody Ziegler is he does like to repeat jokes. He's not even doing that as much in this. It's just randomness where we ended that last issue. Okay, Death Grip, the idea that Deadpool's going to set up kind of a villains for hire, an assassins for hire type deal. He got the idea from Gal in the Miles book. And this, while I was reading this issue, it brought something in my mind that you had said that drove me nuts, and it continues to. This is the Cody Ziegler verse.
Oh, yeah, we're in
this book. If you are reading and like all of Cody Ziegler's book, kind of like we said about the first issue of Blood Hunt, the big event. If you're a Jed MacKay fan, you're in the Jed MacKay verse, and you're going to really like it because it ties in all of his books. If you are a Cody Ziegler fan, I think you could get some fun out of this because it is tying things even. A guy from back in the Beyond issues of The Amazing Spider-Man when Nick Spencer left the book and they ended up having Zeb Wells and a bunch of other writers do that whole Beyond deal, stuff that brought back Ben Reilly and things like that. Mm-hmm. That's so far back, and it's a character. Nobody would. It's a non-character and shows up, and you have the editor's note. You're going to go back to see that guy?
No way. He doesn't have a wiki entry or anything, this guy.
Nothing. This guy
I'm not wasting my time looking
He's
back.
He's nothing. And the thing is,
he doesn't even look like anything. He's just a regular guy. Like
the four people who remember this guy, two of them are me and Jason, and we made fun of this guy because it was an awful character. It ended up where, if you don't remember, the Cody Ziegler things in the whole Beyond stuff, it started the Sentient Sandwich. Not like everything was bullcrap. But we end up going to this. Like, I don't want to get too angry. But this issue, like, it's one of those things. It's not horribly written. Like, the dialogue, it gets a little street. He's trying to throw some things in there, but that's kind of his way. But the idea of this is that it's just boring. It's just kind of middle of the road, mid thing. And I don't expect that from a Deadpool book. Yeah, a Deadpool story doesn't have to wow you. Sometimes it could in a way. But you kind of want to have fun with it. You kind of want to see some crazy stuff. And in this, it's just like the same thing with Princess eating people. You end up where bombs are exploding. Even at the beginning of this, they just end up in a random, thing. They're in Eastern Europe. Like, everything's
He's
generic.
Looking for an office building for some reason, too.
And he's doing a job and ends up getting this coat. And at the end, it's just so that he can get some more money. I don't know. Again, I don't know.
It was like on fire and ripped up.
And he's got blood on it. He's like, I got the thing,
blood on
but
it,
there's the coat that's got blood on it.
And he takes the coat with him, you're right.
Yeah, that's what it seems to be. So he's there doing this to get money to get this building that he wants to rent out, but nothing's really well set up, and then he blows up the place as he's leaving. It's a cold open but nothing really in that.
So when they find the rat in the jar, is that the same building in Eastern Europe? Is that
no,
it's a different place?
That's in like New York or wherever they are.
So there was no. They didn't let you know there was a change of scenery or anything.
No, I guess he's like, we're going back and we're going to get that we can now get officially liquid enough to afford rent on a low tier office building in a bad neighborhood, and then just walks away and blows up the building. But you don't even see the explosion. He just throws down this bomb. I don't know. This is what I'm saying. The idea that we didn't like the first issue was a lot to do with it just felt bland, and there might be jokes. Maybe we're just not getting them. I don't know.
It's the same thing with the Miles. There's a lot of stuff going on the page, and it kind of gets lost what's actually happening.
Then we go off, and we're going to deal with Ellie. Ellie, Deadpool's daughter. This is not a new thing, but the way that in my mind, it's been a bit, and he's also, you're going to have Cody Ziegler do a lot. I mean, we didn't even mention, but we will now. The old symbiote dog princess is from Alyssa Wong's run. And it feels like Cody Ziegler is, I give him credit. He's trying to tie in things, but he's doing it in a way that, I don't know, nothing is really well set up for a new reader. And also it just doesn't really do much. I like Ellie, and showing Ellie is real smart. That's fine. But you stay in this scene, in my mind, a little too long, especially because we just start off with a kind of, shrug your shoulders opening with Deadpool and Princess, to then go off to see Ellie and the adopted family, the old deal of the life body decoy, like all of that stuff going on. Like the joke is, oh no, your hand's on fire. Like it's not even that funny. Your LMD hand, it's on fire, and they don't grow on trees. And she shakes that off. And then you have a joke where the guy's serving breakfast, and hey, bone apple teeth. We don't laugh at that. I'm like, yeah, that's just
bone apple teeth.
Bone apple teeth. That's at some point they'll probably say it down the line. Don't wait too long because this ain't gonna last long. But you end up where the idea of like, okay, and Ellie wants to get a hold of Deadpool, but realizes if she ends up just calling him, she doesn't. Even though she just could call and say it's me. She says, I don't want to be a damsel in distress. I don't want to annoy him. The one thing that I would say, if you're Ellie, you don't want to come on too strong. Deadpool might not like that, but she's going to figure out a way to try to track him down. And so she ends up getting the LMD hand from her mom, uses that because that's why you have the one burn. So they're show you have an extra and there's one laying. That's it. It's very, pretty much forced in there, and ends up where connecting the cell phone that Deadpool did give her to connect it with the hand to make like a satellite deal that can track Deadpool. And then even says maybe I can even figure out how to, teleport, whatever. That's fine.
She's a super genius now, Riri Williams style.
Yeah. And again, I like Ellie, and a lot of people do like Ellie, and I do
or Moon
think
Girl
with this. Yeah, I remember Jason lost his mind. Remember when Reed Richards said that Moon Girl was smarter than him, and he was so upset.
Well, I mean, yeah, didn't like
a lot
that,
of people were upset.
Uh-huh.
But I think that in this, if we did stick around, I think that Ellie with Princess, the symbiote, would be great. I think that they would be really good like together, and it could actually give a deal. I don't know that I want Princess with him all the time because Princess just eats everybody.
Yeah, he doesn't have to do anything.
It just ends up where it just keeps doing stuff for Deadpool, and maybe that would be a way to maybe I'm telling you, I wouldn't even mind. And I don't know why I'm liking this so much. I'm making up things in my head, but even like a backup with Ellie hanging with Princess might be pretty cool.
Because it makes more sense.
Yeah, I think that could work out. So hopefully
he's leading towards that.
I hope. Because again, like you said, it's just every joke with Princess is, and also doing everything by eating people. But then when Princess isn't eating somebody, that's the joke. Princess wants to eat them because they go to this rundown.
Well, before
space.
that, though, Ellie cuts her hand, which gives her basically free license to go after Deadpool because she can't be hurt.
Yeah, and also and actually can hang with Deadpool.
She's basically a superhero now, not a little kid going out.
Kind of a forced way to. You're right. Looking down the idea because you don't want a little girl hanging out.
She has a healing factor, so she'll be fine.
We could discuss how that came about when it doesn't seem like it'd be genetic, but the idea of all this, who knows? But we'll see. So Deadpool sets up this office. He goes in, it's run down, it's a piece of crap. But really, the big joke in this is there's a rat swimming in the water cooler. That's the joke. And I'm not saying everything has to be a joke, but it ends up where I'm waiting for things to at least be funny or fun, and it never really gets there. And so he's a little less depressed, though, than the last issue, so that's cool. But he ends up where he needs help. Now, he can barely afford the office. He doesn't need help. He's Deadpool. He just went to Russia and got the magic coat. He could do things, but Cody Ziegler wants to have a team up and wants to do fun. So he ends up hiring, never could afford it, but he ends up hiring Taskmaster, who also shows up with this Beyond jerk to do the semantics and the analytical stuff with that. So you think, okay, Deadpool with Taskmaster, this might be a lot of fun. Never really gets there. I'm telling you, a lot of people might be getting angry, like that jerk off. You end up talking about, well, it doesn't always have to be funny or whatever, but Cody Ziegler seems to be the king to me of setting up scenarios that seem like they're going to be a lot of fun and never gets to the fun. It's just the setup that is the joke, never takes advantage of anything past that. So you have Taskmaster, again, too, sassy, the talk, it could be so much fun, but they kind of just go back and forth on pay. They start, that's kind of the jokes in this, and that's where you even have the idea of Deadpool saying, yeah, we're not going to go to, because you end up where Taskmaster shows up and the guy from the Beyond, he got information on Death Grip. That's the big thing. That guy that you fought, ends up having this weird idea of he's like a serial killer, but he's like a drug addict that needs a fix. That's just a serial killer. Like somebody who likes killing, I get it. He likes killing, and he had to try to make that more, but it didn't really work for me. The idea
he likes the killing.
Yeah, like the wrong turn. I mean, that's it. There are people who are obsessed. That so he ends up. Well, they talk about this idea of this death grip and the idea of how we're going to have to take him down. And then Deadpool just says, well, we won't get to that till like issue 4. Like, okay, like why? Why? So instead, though, they have to keep doing these littler jobs. So they're going to end up protecting an influencer at streaming.
A micro-influencer.
Yeah, micro-influencer. So there's the joke. They're going to a streaming convention. It's like a TikTok convention.
Could there be anything more lame than a streaming convention?
But that's what's fun about it. Like, that's the setup, right? So
people would actually go to it. I'm just saying. I know.
And you have a guy who barely is anything who has hired them as protection, because you do even end up seeing crossbones here and things like that. But in the meantime, I think that this influencer at the end is the one who also hired crossbones to come in and start blasting things, because this guy does not need protection. He actually ends up twisting and turning it into that his booth is, I'm here with Deadpool. Come and see me, Deadpool and friends. Never plays out, though. You never take advantage of your setup. An idea of a streaming convention, and seriously, Deadpool going to a convention where there's a bunch of people who make money dancing and doing crazy pranks.
They would love it.
What better setup for Deadpool to find out that's a thing and flip out to want to do it? But that's not what happens.
The guy's like just crying at his desk. It's like,
because nobody wants to go see him. And again,
he's not doing anything to make it enticing to come to his booth.
And Cody Ziegler is making the scene, because once we get the setup, oh my God, what is Deadpool going to do here? And Taskmaster, he's a guy who, they have a lot of people who do like sport, like that Dude Perfect or whatever his name is. Like I said, like Taskmaster himself could do a lot of crazy things, but they never do this because they go to this convention. The one joke is, man, there's people who are waiting in line over there for like 30 minutes at least, and nobody wants to wait in line here. That's it. That's the joke.
Yeah, no, I think this could be funny if it was flushed out a little bit more and they had like interaction with the crowd and they were talking to them.
When they're there and they end up realizing this guy's a sad sack, this guy who hired him, and Taskmaster and Deadpool decide to walk around.
It'd be funny to hear him walk around and make commentary on the different things.
And also, where is the person who makes fun of Taskmaster and Deadpool? Because they seem to be in cosplay at a place that isn't doing that. Like, you could even have that simple a joke.
The whole issue could have been that,
You
really.
could have where the security comes and says there's a sign, no cosplay, and they try to kick him out. You can have Deadpool go and see that people are making money doing stupid dances, and he tries to get involved. And then Taskmaster, though, he sees things and can do them immediately. Perfect. He's doing that.
He's doing the TikTok dances.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to do it,
the
do
floss
it. Yeah, he's flossing. He's doing the whip and nay-nay. I don't know what dances they have now. He's doing, to kill this love.
What's that thing that you showed me that video? The kids were scooting across, they were floating across the air or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy that they kind of like do that weird floating air
thing.
Across. See? Yeah. This could be, but again, you play the idea of Deadpool like maybe stuck in the 80s, 90s. He doesn't get.
He's doing the moonwalks.
And I'm not saying that, somebody's going to say, oh, what do you guys think? You're funnier than Cody Ziegler? Whatever. Do something, though. I wish I could say that he's doing things. He sets up that you have a lame, streamer who's at a streaming convention and do nothing at all with it. You say, oh man, they're waiting in line for 30 minutes. You don't even see, when you see the whole bit of the whole thing.
It's too zoomed in or something.
Yeah, it's not crowded and there's not that many people there.
And why is there trash all over the place?
Because people are awful.
I mean,
that's what it is, right?
I mean, even a comic book convention would have been funny to like go to New York Comic Con or something with these guys.
Have a guy walk by this booth and look over and say, oh, you're lame. And you see that it's
Your
Rob Liefeld
sucks.
And he has like 80 pouches on his, shorts. Something. Holy moly. Like, you get nothing because then they're there. Deadpool's eating. They're talking still about pay. Where how are you going to afford me? Taskmaster saying he gets triple overtime. He's like, yeah, what about the Friends rate? That's the Friends rate. And then you just end up where people are taking pictures of Princess. They're going to get eaten. But even that's not played out. Like, they should take advantage of that.
Everybody would be watching Princess. It's an abomination walking around.
Yeah, it shouldn't be in there. And so when you get this whole thing, it's like you are dealing with Deadpool who's desperate for money. This is the perfect. But what happens? All of a sudden, oh no, a maniac with a huge gun. Oh no, that even feels weird. And it's Crossbones who comes in. And I swear to God, this is all set up by this guy to just make this sort of wacky thing happen. But we end then, and I don't know. I mean, people look dead. And Crossbones is there and says, you got a bad habit of bringing out the worst in folks. The end. I'm like, really? I don't know. Again, we talk way too long about this garbage. It's a bland issue. It's a generic issue. It's not worse than some things that I've read. It's not better than a lot of things I've read. It's just kind of doing nothing. And that's one thing that I think that I should not leave a Deadpool issue feeling apathetic. That's worse than me hating it or loving it. It's just the worst because it's nothing. It's bland.
It's irritating to me.
This guy, Cody Ziegler's supposed to be Mr. Funny Guy. Rick and Morty. Mm-hmm. And Rick and Morty.
I love Rick and Morty.
And I do too. Rick and Morty's, the reputation has really, it's taken a dive. A lot of people, when you mention it now, they try to pretend that they never liked it. Mm-hmm. It was fun. It went a little over.
The last season, they got rid of the main guy, but
still, like, you're here because of that, and I don't know what you're doing. And it's not even like there's some people get on Deadpool and do like want to, okay, I'm not going to make it so over the top. I want to delve into the character things. Like, this is like stuck in between everything. You get Ellie, who I like, but even that just feels like it's there to entice people in. It really isn't doing anything yet. But Ellie with Princess, great. That I hope that happens. But overall, it's just, what'd you get with this issue? It's so bland.
It's boring to me. I was telling you, like, I wasn't joking. I laid down to read these things. I read all 3 issues successfully. I got to this one. I fell asleep 3 times. I couldn't keep my eyes open. And I'm like, this is just boring.
It was at 5 at night. We're not doing this at 2 a.m. like I do some of the stupid things.
It's just boring. I don't know, man. For me,
it's the thing. I can't say it enough that, I mean, if people think that this is great or hilarious, that's fine. I think it's just boring. It's just bland. That could change easily. At least, like I said, the dialogue itself, like, it's not funny. It's just doing the same thing over, but I can't say it's awful. And some of the things setting up seem okay. So it could change. But boy, for 2 issues in, I just think it's a boring deal, and I think it's going to end up along with that Alyssa Longding. I don't think this is going to last more than 10 issues. I may be wrong. People can call me out on it, but it feels already like it just doesn't have a spark. And I said to that guy who gave me crap, I said, I'll get back to you on like issue 5 when nobody cares about this book, where one person's reviewing it. No user reviews on Comic Book Roundup, nothing. It'll just kind of like fall into like Alyssa Wong's Captain Marvel right now. You hear anybody talking about that? Like, this is what this book feels like now already in 2 issues. And it's,
like when he said, see you in issue 3 and 4, I'm like,
yeah.
Will you? Because I don't know if it might get canceled before then.
Yeah, no, let's not cut it. The weird thing, and I say 10 especially because they did come out this week, Marvel recently, and said that most things will last till 10.
Great. So now we got to deal with 10 crappy issues instead of just 5?
Again.
What kind of edict is that?
This is one of those things, if I bought, I still might be upset, but it doesn't feel like it's like as bad as some of the things that we read. It's just like I said, it's just kind of boring.
He's competent. He's got all these ideas. He just needs to focus.
Yeah, I agree. I think that he has to focus.
Get him some Adderall and sit him down and get him going here.
You can tell. Maybe I took my Adderall a little too late. Again, we're saying that, I would never make fun of somebody about that because I'm right there. Like, no, I need somebody to keep me focused as well.
That's a thing.
And I get, Matt knows, I get crazy ideas like, we'll be, hey, we're going to record here. And next thing I'm sending them 7 songs and an idea for another podcast because I can't help it. That's just things go wacky.
Focus, sir.
Yeah. So I try. And it is one of the things, too. It upsets me when I can't because I do feel like I've wasted people like my time. It's a tough deal. But I think that he's in that position, like you said. And I also think that he comes up, the idea of a streaming convention with Deadpool, that should be solid gold, and then seems to get away from the fun of it. And somebody should have been there to say, no, let's, go, you can have crossbones, whatever, but let's have some fun with this. You have set up.
You have something
it's a
here.
Set piece.
Let's flesh it out a little bit.
Yeah. At the beginning, you have that Russian deal, which really just felt like a lame opener that was too similar without any info of what we did last issue as well. It just didn't have much flavor to it. So overall, Taskmaster seems like he's just there to be there as well. But what would you give this?
I'll go 4.5 on this one.
Yeah, I'm going 5. And I like the art. The art's good enough.
Yeah,
didn't bother
some
me.
of the faces were freaking me out a little bit.
You say the faces. I think that the angles are a little off. The family,
I wouldn't be eating breakfast with them, just put it that way.
Now, if somebody's there cooking bacon and burns their hand, I'm not eating it. I'm done, right?
Their faces look like they're melting a little bit or something. So I don't like that either.
Caught on fire too. It's the deal. Like, I'm not sitting there and just like, okay, like pass the. I don't know.
No,
it'd be weird. I wouldn't be eating that. And of course, as it burns, for some reason, it makes it look like
plastic
Deadpool
smell.
Ham. It looks like Deadpool ham.
Yeah. And then when he's eating that hamburger, it's freaking me out too. Deadpool with that face.
Yeah, but even then, like. Make fun. If you're going to go to make fun of convention food, make fun of the idea of somebody goes by and yells at Deadpool for eating a hamburger. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know this. I don't eat meat, so I could be there like, oh my, no reason I'd like to eat a hamburger. But yeah, I just don't get it. Also, the idea that they have swords, like the things that are there in this convention, you could really point out are weird. Like they have katanas and things in a convention, but play that out. Have they? Like the cuss, I don't know. I can't correct.
It's just misguided a little bit. It needs some be reined in a little bit.
Yeah, so maybe that'll happen. Somebody can tell us. I keep saying, so that guy will come back and say bullshit again, and we'll be reviewing it again. But yeah, that's for that guy. So yeah, I'd love to. And again, if somebody comes into the comments on YouTube, especially, and you say, "Oh, that's a bullshit," like, give me your review then. Don't just say that's bullshit. Give me the reasons and let me know what we missed out on. Yeah. Why do you think that? Never do. And anytime I say, "Oh, what do you mean? What's that?" Never hear from them again. They're like a ghost, one of those poops that don't go on the toilet paper. That's what they are. Smack asses.